An Alabama prison warden got tired of disruptive and troublesome inmates in his prison, so he devised a special penalty for them, the hitching post. Inmates sentenced to the hitching post would be taken outside and chained to a rail in a standing position. There they would stay from early in the morning until late at night. Do you support or oppose what the warden did? Hi everyone, I'm Bob G., the History Doctor. The Eighth Amendment prohibits three specific things: excessive bail, excessive fines, and cruel and unusual punishment. How do we define what is cruel and unusual punishment in our legal system? We have to choose our philosophical stance towards the Constitution and its amendments. One way to look at the Constitution and cruel and unusual punishment is described by what we can call originalism. That is, what is cruel and unusual is defined by what was cruel and unusual at the time the Bill of Rights was written in 1791. That's originalism. The other way was explained by Chief Justice Earl Warren in 1954, when the Chief Justice wrote, "We are bound by the evolving standards of decency that mark the progress of a maturing society." I can see at least six sort of broad issues that illustrate the tension within our Supreme Court on defining cruel and unusual punishment. The first issue, hugely, is capital punishment. The framers did recognize capital punishment, that is, the death penalty. They referred to it specifically in the Fifth Amendment. So the framers knew what the death penalty was and specifically recognized it. But does that mean that present-day Americans must recognize and accept it too? We all have to answer, what is the place of capital punishment in the America that you believe in? Does executing the mentally disabled violate the Eighth Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment? How about for someone who was a juvenile at the time their crime was committed? In the Supreme Court case Simmons versus Roper, again the Supreme Court found that executing juveniles violates cruel and unusual punishment. But Justice Scalia, the originalist on the court, dissented. Another issue of capital punishment is the method of execution itself. We've got the electric chair in America. Is that cruel? Is that our version of burning witches at the stake? Another issue that reveals the tension of originalism and evolving standards is the debate about torture and what was pejoratively called enhanced interrogation techniques. How about the waterboarding of terror suspects, or sleep deprivation, or sensory deprivation tanks? Another question we can look at is prison overcrowding. Recently, California's prisons were found to be unconstitutional under the Eighth Amendment because they were so crowded as to be cruel, and the federal courts ordered the release of California prisoners. How about corporal punishment for young students in school? Can the vice principal legally paddle a 14-year-old? There are at present 22 states that allow corporal punishment of minors in school. Voluntary confinement for prisoners. Is this cruel and unusual? John McCain, Senator McCain, spoke earnestly about solitary confinement because he experienced it and said, "I nearly went insane." Or perhaps life without parole for crimes committed as juveniles. Is that cruel? Or is there nothing in the Constitution that prohibits that? So you remember the Alabama prison warden's hitching post? Is that cruel and unusual? Or is that torture? Or is the warden doing his job in maintaining order in the prison? So whatever your views, in a democracy, the highest office is the office of citizen.